everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your fifth Matlock episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the bigger world. So yeah, like I mentioned in the last review, that I was beginning to feel that I'm gonna lose my voice. Well, actually, it was very worse yesterday. I could not talk at all. I've actually managed to recover my voice enough to record this review. Now, I will be honest, if there is any point in this review where I suddenly lose it, because again, it's very limited right now. I'm speaking in a very low dialect to stretch it out as much as you can. It will be raised in post. So this will be a very different episode review. Hopefully, by next week, I should be back to normal. Hopefully, normally this doesn't last for more than a week. So hopefully by the time we get to the next episode review, we should be back to normal. And I did the schedule. Apparently, after next week, we are going on a 2-week break for the holidays. So we won't be back till December. But until then, yeah, so I do apologize if this episode review does sound a little bit weird. It's still going to be me, just not as exciting and hyper as I normally am. So I do apologize if that's what you're looking for. But this week on Matlock, it's the 5th episode. We've made it to the 5-episode mark, and I am very, well, I'm going to mention 2 things before we even begin the review, which normally I shouldn't be doing considering the fact I'm trying to limit my voice, but, you know, I still want to make note of this. First of all, on the actual series side of things, yeah, 5 episodes in, I want to say this is probably the best new show of the season, and of the current broadcast season. Now, again, for me, I've only watched 2 new shows, which was this show and Georgie and Mandy, both on CBS. Not to say NBC, ABC, or Fox doesn't have anything to offer for me. It's just, again, there's a reason why I'm reviewing this show, because it's the more appealing to me. And I think a general consensus is, again, right now, it is the only show in the start of a season that had been renewed for another season already. So I think it's already leaps and bounds better than a lot of other things. Now again, the quality could depend on just any other factor of, you know, like if I'm ranking it against every ongoing show, maybe that's a different conversation. But if I'm specifically talking about brand new shows right now, this is the best. This is by far the best. Like I said last week, I think this is one of the best new shows I've seen in a very long time. I think the last time I probably did this into a brand new show was probably The Rookie back in 2018. So at least for me, I'm like, damn, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be at. And yeah, and the other thing I want to mention is that again, I'll talk more about this next time. I want to wait till the numbers come in, but so far on our show side, on What's in the Tube, our Matlock reviews are tracking very, very highly. I don't want to gloat myself. I only want to say thank you to everyone that has been supporting us so far. I'm really appreciative. I'm going to be a little bit more exciteful and more, like, you know, detailed next week, but I just want to already give that. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching the reviews. Thank you for also watching Matlock, because of all that, we've been granted a season 2. We already are very blessed to know that we will have Matlock episodes in 2024, in 2025, in 2026. It's not that often nowadays to be guaranteed one of your new TV shows is going to be on the air for 3 separate years, which it's crazy. It really is. And again, I hope we get to do way more of these. I hope this is the beginning. Again, and I know this is Katie Bates' last show, but like, I do hope this is going to take some time. I don't think I don't think this will be one of those, you know, 1 or done or even 2 and done. I do imagine this going for a good amount of time. But again, I know the showrunner, I know the creator. I think she's going to end it at a very good point. I don't think she's going to overstay her welcome, but at least I think I know it's not going to be a 2-season thing. I know that. But again, I don't want to get too full ahead of myself. We have to wait and see. We still got a whole rest of the season 1 review, then all season 2. So we'll get to that as may be. But for this week's episode of Matlock, I think this is, again, what I said before, we're at the 5-episode mark. I think this is a really nice way to kind of not bring it home. We're not even close to the finale. That's not what I mean. But definitely this is the episode, I think, where we are going to progress to the middle portion of the show. I think this is ending the beginning portion. And that's surprising for me, to say the least, considering the fact I think we had the most advancements on the story. And this episode didn't really feel that much. It felt more like a divergence, like we are trying to do something that we figured out off screen, which again, like I said last week, I wasn't a big fan of the whole husband being mad at the random sort of thing, but this being more like a bite size, like, oh, we've discovered something since the last episode, and it's kind of, digestible this time around. It's like, okay, that now I'm not feeling so out of place here. And definitely between what the case of the week was, again, going back to Maddie's strengths and everything, and I feel like this is the episode where I think we are firming in on the dynamics for the rest of the season. Obviously, there might be some things that might change over between now and the final 5 episodes of the season. I think there'll definitely be some change, but I feel like the grooves we kind of got into this week will definitely be where the rest of the season's, the most of the bulk of the season's going to go. And I'm very excited about that because I was really a big fan of what they were supporting here. This felt like more like a core main cast type of episode where like it was focusing on Maddie, it was focusing on the associates, was focusing on Olympia, was focusing on even Julian. We didn't get Senior this episode. We didn't get Elijah. We were just mainly focusing on our core cast because they are the core cast of the show. They are the primary characters moving the story. And I feel like we're getting to such a good rhythm to them. And now we're starting to really develop layers. We have already a connective line between all of them. Now we can start building layers on top of that. And I think that makes a more different and more dynamic relationship as we progress forward with the overall mission that Maddie has, but as well as the overall story between all these people. So I think this episode did a very, very great job kind of, wrapping up the beginning portion of the show. And now we're moving into the middle. And my only hope is that we don't diverge too far from the main story. I don't really want, again, as much as I said that I love Jane the Virgin, which was the showrunner's last show, in this case, I really want to get to the next point. What is the next thing? And again, they always deliver. And this episode's no exception to that. But with that being said, let's go through the butchered recap and talk about this week's episode of Matlock. So we begin at the with a narration, which I'm like, interesting. We never do a narration on the show, but it turns out to be a voiceover from Maddie, who is on intercom or earphone speaker with her husband, who is doing his first undercover solo gig because again, they bench their grandson because they want him to kind of focus on just being a kid, not worry about just the dynamics of the case of the mission. Just go do your own kid stuff. Don't worry, we'll be fine. So apparently, one of the new things they discovered since the last episode was that there is this email attachment that Senior sent to Olympia, which is not accessible because it's weird. It's a saved copy on the email, but you need to be online to do that. And obviously they can't go online. So they're trying to find a way to open the attachment without doing any of that. But however, sadly, the technician does tell the grandpa, who again is not the best undercover source of material, and tells him that, I'm sorry to say, but you need the person on the other side, or in his case, he said he died. Okay, you need to get a family member to send you the information because at least on your end, there's nothing you can do. So basically, they're kind of screwing shot of the pooch the easy way, which again, knowing this show, why are we not surprised? Again, this is not supposed to be an easy, $1 million mission. This is something that honestly do a lot of crazy stuff for, and this is one of them where they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we access the email? And the only other person that will probably have it is HR, or not HR, IT, who would have all the saved data records of emails. So that seems to be their only lead. But however, again, Maddie just barely scratched her way out of the documents floor last week. How is she going to get through this one? But Maddie's got an idea too, as always she does. We pop over to the firm. Maddie shows up a bit late. The other two are already getting into place. Apparently, they're doing a brand new case this week, which is focusing on a former inmate who is suing the women's prison she was a part of, because the guards were sexually abusing her or sexually assaulting her, and now she wants to press files against them. And it's a pretty crucial case considering the fact they have a very, very well point eyewitness that will, with her testimony alone, can basically destroy the entire prison if she really wanted to. So that's kind of like the big thing they need. And also, Olympia needs a win. After last week's, Texas tussle, let's call it that, she's ready for a win. She's ready to get back in the winners category. That's the goal here. And she's not letting anything or anyone get in the way of that. But Maddie beginning to plant seeds of like, I need IT here, is that her laptop's not working really that well. So she called over IT so that she can get some assistance with the matter, but she briefly goes off to catch up on the case because, again, I guess Maddie's the last to know about these things, but again, she's always the first to be asked upon for help, so it's just a nice way to put it as that. Olympia's on the phone with the, I guess, the workplace for their prime testimonial to try and get a good schedule with her open to go over the case before they get to court. She's about to drink some very, very caffeinated beverages. However, Julian comes in to kind of slow down on that, again, and she's very much eager to kind of get going on her next case and to get that next win. But, Julian being kind of her, I guess, closing in on ex-husband, she does kind of know her a little well enough that at least try to lean her back a little bit. And then so Julian does let her know that there is someone interested in buying their property in the city. And this isn't something they were planning right now. They were planning on doing the divorce and then figuring out the property stuff later because they have kids and they wanted to at least give them some time to adjust and adapt to wherever they may move next. And Julian does admit that the offer is pretty generous. It's actually 20% over the current market value. So actually they would be getting a profit from it if they were to take the deal. But the only caveat is they need to move now. So, or not even, I don't think it's move now, but move within the next 20 days. So in the next 3 weeks, they got to move out. And Olympia's not quite eager about that. She's like, you know what, give me a moment, give me some time to think about it. We'll reconvene at lunch and talk about this more. Olympia goes upstairs to see Maddie, to see the others. Apparently there was an official correspondence that her schedule had changed and that they were ready to meet right now. So Olympia takes Maddie because I don't know why, but this point, again, the last week, them being let's become official allies. Let's help each other out. And you scratch my back, I scratch your back. This is her beginning her efforts to really involve Maddie a little more. And Sarah and even Billy is starting to kind of notice a little bit. So before they can even do their own assign Olympia tasks, Sarah reveals she's actually going to go back to dating. Well, she's on a dating app, and it's very, what's the nice word to say this? It's very dry. Very, very dry. And I should know, because sometimes when I used to be on the dating apps, because, again, I was at one point, now it feels like forever. Even my profiles were dry. But hers is just copy and paste from LinkedIn, which I'm like, you're trying to attract people, not trying to get hired. So Billy was like, you know what? We're gonna spruce this up later. We'll get you some good people. Let's give it some time. So I think from there we go to the nail salon, which is where their testimonial person works at. Maddie instantly compliments the nails of the receptionist, which I'm not even gonna get into that this episode. I have my own personal opinion on nails. We're not gonna get into that. Olympia steps outside briefly to go take care of a call, which I think is the townhouse buyer, the prospectful buyer, and then the real testimony individual shows up, and Maddie instantly sees, okay, something is completely wrong here. So by the time Olympia comes in, they're ready to kind of go into the back room and start breaking down their what they're going to say at court. Maddie pulls her aside, lets her know that, hey, she's back, because she was a former abuser in terms of the drug variety, but now she's officially back on it. She could tell, because again, for us as the viewers, we know that Maddie dealt with this a lot when she was dealing with her daughter, and now she gets detected here that like, yeah, you know, she may seem okay, but like in reality, she's not okay. She's not fully there right now. So by the time they go into the room, Olympia trying to be a little bit optimistic. Then maybe you're you're seeing things. Let's just keep going. But then instantly, Maddie's just like, I'm calling you out. Like, you're on drugs. You're on something. And of course, the lady's like, I'm not. Like, don't worry about it. I'm not on it. And Maddie's like, okay, here's a drug test. Take it right now. If you pass, I'll apologize. We'll move forward. But she eventually does admit, yeah, I relapsed. I had a very stressful day yesterday. Back-to-back customers. Back-to-back reality. I needed something. I needed something now. And she apologizes for that. She tries to, like you said, like, I will not do it again. But however, sadly, they don't know exactly the extent of it. So her already admitting she relapsed could basically mean that all of her testimony she gave before, prior to them, could be basically falsified, lying under oath. And even though she may be telling the truthful truth, her being under the influence is not her being cognizant. So that's not usable in court. So now they're kind of fucked right now because like they're about to start a class action lawsuit tomorrow morning with no star testimony. So Olympia tasked Maddie to go find a new person within the prison ranks to testify against the prison in hopes that they could still establish the case. So Maddie goes back off to the others while she does that, and Olympia goes to talk to Julian about the prospectfully of selling their property, which, again, she's kind of like finally leaning into the more reality aspect of it. I think finally it's sitting in there, like, you know, the actual constraints of like being a divorcee. And like, you know, you reach these points where like, yeah, you're separating a good portion of your life for the last decade or so by this point. You're putting your children away from that. And I think she's finally starting to realize that she's going to basically put her kids through that already very soon. Like, it's like, at least for me, I think I said this before, or maybe I haven't. I think I said before on the overall What's on the Two platform, but now maybe not on this review series. But for me, I am a child of divorced parents. I was very grateful that I had at least 2 months to adjust to it. I was old enough to kind of get the situation. I kind of understood it a little bit more, but it is very much that feeling of you're losing your child. And ironically, I'm back at my childhood home, which is like ironic to say the least, but at least for how I viewed it, you know, again, like that you never knew what was going to happen. And I guess Olympia being more aware, because again, this is modern day, that, you know, she's going to put some sort of like, it may not be now, but it may be later, that her kids are going to feel that their childhood was kind of ripped away from them. And that's so much she's starting to do. So she's kind of like, you know, backing off a little bit from that idea. We head back over to the firm where they're going through all the prisoners, trying to find at least one decent enough person to kind of be the new star of this case. And they're looking around. They do find someone, which they pass along the name to Olympia. And this is when kind of Sarah and Billy starts to notice that, well, Maddie's kind of gone a little bit, you know, what's the word here? Kind of got second in command, like, you know, she's kind of acting like a boss now too, and like they're supposed to be equal, so kind of feeling a bit off by that. But we're interrupted by that when the IT lady shows up, who instantly, Sarah immediately crushes on her, and I'm just like, damn, like, Sarah, you didn't even like try. You had no poker face. I'm like, damn, you gotta really work on that, and it becomes a little cringy, but in a good way, that Maddie, the IT girl, which I already forgot her name, and Baylor are kind of like, you know, vibing off each other in a natural way, and then you have Sarah, who's like trying to be normalized, but, you know, every time that the IT girl talks, she kind of like, you know, giggles, she kind of like laughs a little bit too hard, and yeah, so I'm like, this ain't a good look for you. This, like, you basically may already like ask her out at this point, because like it's just super obvious at the point. It really is. So I think from there, Olympia heads over to the prison. She meets up with the new warden, or the new commanding officer for the prison, and already gets a one-on-one with their prospectful new star testimonial. But however, sadly, when she starts filling her in on why she's even here now, she kind of gets scared off and doesn't want to do it because she's scared. Because if she relapsed and she's not usable, what does that make me? So Olympia has no choice. They kind of have to go through everyone on the roll. No one wants to take the offer. Nobody does. She lets the others know that, like, yeah, they're basically kind of screwed in the pooch on this one. She really is. So I think from there we get back to to Maddie's house. We kind of briefly put that aside for a moment while they kind of go back to the whole, like, let's recap the audience a little bit, like, where we're at right now on this new development front of pinning Senior as the primary person for withholding the opioids document. And which I'm like, again, it's a nice way to catch people like me up who are like a little slow to, like, keeping up with a mystery. And they're just still focusing on, like, trying to get the IT lady to gain access to her records so they can get to the actual matter of things. However, they're kind of being stumped a little bit. They notice their grandson about to come into the doors. This is kind of a tech-related thing. They know he's going to jump on board with it, so they just instantly move the topic to somewhere else and just keep, like, as normal grandparents, like, we're just doing our own thing. Don't worry about things. Go do your homework. Go do your activities. So from there, we had they also got the call that I think they were going to try and use the the drug dealer that sold their original star testimonial, the drugs as a potential what's the word, a potential avenue. Perhaps maybe it's one of the prison guards, but however, sadly, when they cannot get access to the footage. So Maddie has a plan B, which I'm not a big fan of this plan. I'm really not. Where she goes to get her nails done herself, and I'm just like, how much did it cost you to get this evidence? Because she eventually bonds with the nail technician, because that's their proper name, and she goes over to get the camera footage, even though the court didn't, the judge denied getting the subpoena for it. So Maddie had to willingly get it, while sadly Olympia is stretching out her opening arguments to very basic mythology comparisons, which I'm like, oh, Olympia, I know you're better than that, but you're just working with bare bones here. But thankfully, Maddie does call Olympia in with some news, but it's entirely not prospectful news, where the footage that they have does not give them a real look into the actual person himself. But they know it's a drug dealer, but sadly they don't get a lead on the face. So that's a dead avenue there. But their second possibility is to maybe go after the star testimonial again and see if she's willing to at least ID the drug dealer, so maybe they can have some sort of new evidence line there. So Maddie goes over to a well-known druggie spot, which she may or may not have history in. Not herself, but for her daughter. And Olivia keeps Sarah and Billy on standby to see if what's the word? If they're needed to go assist Maddie with the final transport. But Maddie is there, and it's kind of a sketchy place, even by my standards. She calls someone to, like, expedite their arrival, and it's not Billy or Sarah. It's actually her husband who comes in with food, and it's that new drug. Is that it's not new drug. It's the new antitoxin, which came out in pharmacies last year. It's the pink box on Naxat. I may be butchering that wrong, but anyway, so she goes in. She manages to sweet her way in through the doors as she goes to find her on a couch, kind of in the middle of the episode is past, but she just doesn't have any more in her system. She's kind of in that regret mode before the addiction comes back in. And Maddie tries to talk to her about it, but sadly she's a little bit more just apologetic to the whole thing, that she's just not been very useful to anything. And they do share a hug, and that kind of reminds Maddie of when her daughter was in that situation. So from there, I want to say we go back to the firm. Olympia's trying to work out something with the defense, trying to get some sort of settlement offer right now, but the guy's a little bit like, holding off, and I'm like, yeah, maybe we'll be fine. Maybe we won't need any sort of settlement right now. And that's when Maddie comes in with the woman, and sadly she runs up to Olympia, already kind of admits she's relapsed somehow, and I'm like, oh, you idiot, you idiot. And then Olympia and Maddie get into it, and Maddie does snap at Olympia like very hard about the whole thing. And I think this is the first time where Olympia's just not questioning it, because again, they're supposed to be partners now. They're supposed to understand each other to a more deeper extent. And even though Maddie doesn't tell her really why she's feeling so vocal about it, she does, detect that Maddie is feeling emotional about the subject. And, Olympia's word isn't really helping things right now. So from there, they go back. Maddie goes to Billy and Sarah, who also goes over all the prison officers with their original testimonial, but however, sadly, she does not, the drug dealer does not match any of the existing prison guards, so that's already an outsource there. And it does hurt, and Billy and Sarah are mad at Maddie because, they were waiting for a call. They were waiting for, her to signal them that, come and get me, and it never did. And they get mad at her because they think Maddie's just trying to take the whole credibility for this matter, and put them to the side. And, even Billy gets a little bit mad at her because during the fact that he's actually been defending her the entire time, and this is this time actually stung a little bit. So definitely Maddie's starting to feel the pressure weighing around her. I want to say, I don't think we get to the next day yet. I don't remember we get a scene with Maddie or her husband. I don't think so just quite yet. But either way, we do cut to the next day. They're really stretching for the weeds here, trying to figure out what can they really do. They kind of have to present something today, so they don't really have much of a choice here. But Maddie starts to think a little bit outside the box as a possible, well, what if we find something? Because again, she's always there. Like the lady would always be there at work, really. So if there was anyone to actually visit her, it would actually be at the nail salon. So she asked Sarah to look into things, and they do find this very, again, similar to the drug dealer, very off camera person, kind of knew what was going on, sort of thing. And they show Olympia the footage, seeing if she can get something from that. And Olympia's like, oh shit, I know how to roll with this. I know what to do. So they have the court. They bring in their first person on the stand, which is their supposed to be their expert, testimony expert, which is the same newly in command of the prison that Olympia met that we saw earlier. And it's going well. It's, they're joshing around like they were before. However, Olympia does kind of, start getting a little bit more offensive on her, ironically, where she eventually brings up the possibility that, well, maybe you were at the salon for some reason. And she does show her the footage, which kind of already matches the, shows an individual on the screen, which has an identical birthmark to the same lady. And she pleads the fifth, not wanting to confirm or deny that was her. And however, since she is an expert witness, that she has to answer under oath. And the only question Olympia wants to ask her is that, why would you even go after this woman? You have no history with, you never met her. Why would you do that? And she admits, as the new in command of the prison, she felt it better to scare her off, to basically destroy the whole case before it even gets started, because she believes that this might be misappropriation of the prison funds, where instead of giving it to all these people who, were sexually abused in her eyes, that this money can go better to the prison, more program, more opportunities to which again, they all seem like very fair examples, but you can't also dismiss a legitimate claim, a legitimate, moment that these people had. They suffered, and it's basically you're insulting them again by taking their taking back away to get appropriations. Because again, this should not happen to them. They did whatever crime they did to get into prison, but they're still human beings. They're not. They're only supposed. They're the only thing they should be there is to serve their time, be behind bars, get their meals, get some rec time, and that's it. They shouldn't have to be worried by the guards like going after them. And that's still that no one does. It's such a weird conversation to have. And again, my voice is not 100% to really get into that. But basically, yeah, it's bad that she was trying to get their entire argument dismissed. So yeah, we don't see the rest of the court case from there. We kind of regroup back in the. Do we regroup back yet? No, not yet. We go back to the. Oh, yeah, I forgot there was a scene between Billy and Sarah with Maddie where Maddie explains the reason why she never called them was that she, got a call from her grandson's school that he was acting up, and she didn't want to feel embarrassed, so she kind of kept that to herself. And Billy and Sarah kind of immediately agreed with that, like, oh, we're so sorry, because again, she's the sweet old lady. They can't really really look at her too harshly on that. So I guess Sarah and Maddie are going to try and have lunch together, which I find that a bit weird considering the fact these two never shared lunch before. And they happen to run into the IT girl down there. Again, Sarah being a lovesick puppy, immediately yeah, Sarah, you don't go to Vegas, don't go to Atlantic City, don't go anywhere. You're going to fail. And, Maddie being a bit of a, we just remember, oh, wait, she does need something from the IT lady, so what is she going to do here? She's definitely going to do something here. But at the same time, she's kind of knows that Sarah's got the hots for her, so she decides to kill two birds with one stone by dropping her dairy pills, and they were helping her, and I'm assuming pretty quickly this was the one time where the whole big twist. So I knew she was trying to get the thumb print with the phone. Somehow probably doing some dusting and pulling type of forensics, and decides to leave Sarah alone with her, which I'm like, damn, Maddie, you are such a matchmaker. You work out so well. Maddie heads back upstairs to Billy, and Billy is happy to hear that Sarah might be pursuing something, at least a little progressive with the IT girl. But however, Billy decides to focus his attention now on getting Maddie onto a dating site, which I'm like, this is just not going to end well. This is not. And I know this is not going to end well somehow. And they start going through. And again, I thought this would be an incriminating source for Maddie to even more lies for her to come up with it. But Maddie's like, you know what? Let's let's put some fun stuff in there. Let's really do so. They get summoned by Olympia. The judge ruled in. They're paying out $2 million per prisoner that was assaulted. So it's a definite big win for the win overall. So, hats all around to that one. It really is a really damn good victory. So I think from there, I want to say everyone. Also, yeah, Sarah does tell Maddie off, never do that again. Never try to play matchmaker again. It's not your thing. I want to say we head home after that. I know we had some scenes with Olympia and Julian, with their family, with their kids. That again, more credibility to where Olympia's due. Where Olympia just doesn't. She doesn't feel 100% ready yet to kind of pull her kids away from what they been calling home for all their life. And Julian did say you know what? No matter what, we will do the best we can to still be a family, even though we won't be together. And no matter where we are, we're going to make it work. Which, again, I kind of went into the show thinking Julian was going to be a little bit of a secret asshole. He's not. He's not. He definitely cares about Olympia. It's just sometimes two people can grow apart. It happens. Sometimes you're lucky. And sometimes you're not. Again, we don't know the full extent of the divorce, but at least the vibes I'm getting here is that it was just two people that kind of floated away from each other. But it was sweet. It was really sweet. Kind of, nailed down the fact that they're going to try some healthy co-parenting, at least. Best case scenario. I remember also I forgot there was one scene where Maddie kind of calls out Billy of why haven't you married your girlfriend yet? You've been together for 8 years. That would be kind of due time to propose. And Billy's like, yeah, but again, I grew up with women, so I never really had a man to kind of show me like a father figure to like show me when to propose. When do I know? So for him, he's kind of just keeping going with emotions. So we might come back to that later. We head back over to the house where, Maddie gives the update to her husband that she did get the fingerprint from the phone case. She put on an extra screen protector to be able to pull it off at the last minute. So they have a very clear cut of the fingerprint. And similar to Olympia's case, once they do get the actual device that they need, they now have the easy access, which is great. However, he does admit that, like, okay, now we're getting to really technological territory. We might need to pull back our grandson for this matter. And even though Maddie admits, no, you were right the whole time, we need to like let him be a kid where you can only pull him in towards the end. He's like, no, like we've gotten this far because of him. Like at least for certain intervals, he should be there too. So they all have a nice family dinner to, kind of catch up a little bit. He wants to get filled in back on the case matter with what he missed. And they're not going to talk about it tonight. They're just going to enjoy a nice family dinner, just to wrap up the evening. And Maddie gets a notification from her brand new dating app. And even though she's trying to ignore it at first, her husband like eggs her on a little bit. He's like, I want to know my competition now. Like, I want to know. You got to maintain this. So at least want to know who's trying to like get after you. And Maddie gets a message from supposedly someone who knows her real full name. And this is a bit of an issue because... yeah, this, is connected back to the law firm. Billy knows about this, so definitely could be an issue. So who is that mystery person? Who the heck really knows? We'll probably know about it soon. But until then, that is the end of this week's episode of Matlock, which again, I found to be great. It was another great episode. I loved, again, Katie Bates being able to like really pull her emotional connections in very in moments that we don't expect it. Maybe we do, but I don't. I definitely love more of the little bonding between Billy and Sarah following last week. Sarah getting her own like love interest of sort. I feel like I've seen this actress somewhere before. I just it doesn't quite put a finger on my chin right now. I love Olympia and Julian's minor bonding, kind of like mature growing to their next stage of their relationship, even though they're not romantically together anymore. I think that's a very healthy approach to pivot. It's different, but again, not surprising considering the writer. Think outside the box. Don't temper with like usual predictions. And again, the case to try and figure out who did the opioids documents, whether it is senior or not, is progressing. I think at a very nice pace. I think they're not going too fast, but they're not going too slow. And again, I just love the pacing of this. I really, really do. And now that we're kind of out of the beginning zone of things, like now we can really settle into the meat of the season. I'm very excited to see what's next. I really, really am. And this episode just proves it again that this is one of the best TV shows on the air right now. And so with that being said, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up. Let me know down below what did you think of this week's episode of Matlock. I would love to hear your comments down below. As always, I would love to have a conversation with you about it. But that's going to do it for me today, everyone, because my throat is starting to wear and tear. I do apologize of my dialect today. I really, really do. I was going to delay it, but I delayed it for Halloween. I can't delay it enough. I'm drinking as much tea as I can. I'm definitely going to feel in the morning, but you know what? I have the weekend. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you didn't know, this has been Joe here. You've been watching What's in the Tube here, reviewing each and every episode in the first season of Matlock. If you want to know what we're doing or What's the Tube aside our Matlock episode reviews, remember next week we do our episode 6 review on time. Next 2 weeks after that for the Thanksgiving holiday, we will be off the air. We will be back on December 7th. For the next episode proper, and for us, December 8th for the next review. And then in between, I believe we're going to upload a specialty seasonal review and an after the theater for the holiday period. So you'll still have content to enjoy from us while we're off from Matlock. But don't worry, we'll still have a brand new episode of Matlock next week to review together. But again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring the bell. And follow us on social media. But until we see each other again, thank you so much for watching. But until next time, please stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.